Good evening, everyone. How is everybody doing?
You're doing
Doing well,
great, Prof.
Dr.
Good evening,
Good,
Prof.
good,
How you doing, sir?
Great. And you?
Great.
great. Good evening.
Good evening. We're doing well. Thank you. And yourself?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing wonderful. It's Friday, end of the week. Well, Friday is always good, because the weekend is right here. I appreciate everybody's time. We will start here shortly. So tonight, it's kind of a continuation of what we were looking at or discussing last week. So going to be pretty interesting and very insightful as well, as always. So before we begin, yeah, and can if you don't mind, you can put where you're joining us from in the chat. We are still almost at a point where we are going to decide the location for our live event, which will be announced, I think, probably in the next week and a half, right? So please put where you're joining us from in the chat, and maybe that will also help influence where we are bringing Eretmis Cybersecurity Summit 2, right? So we have Texas, Dallas, Nigeria, Lagos, uh, North Carolina, right? Connecticut, Philadelphia, San Francisco.
I'm on from Chicago, but I can't seem to type it.
Okay, Chicago, thank you. Austin, Texas, Dallas, Texas. A lot of Texas today. Atlanta, Georgia, Canada. Okay, so two Canadas. Florida, Atlanta, MA, Minnesota, Maryland, okay, and Jojo from Ghana, Texas, Virginia, Detroit, Maryland, Chicago, Maryland. Okay, so Maryland also representing PA, Lancaster, PA, Maryland again. Okay, great, great. So please keep, keep adding your location to the chat, and we will begin here shortly. I appreciate everybody's time. So we are beginning time now. You are welcome to Eretmis Cyber Chat. We do this every Friday night and at 7 p.m. Eastern, and we appreciate everybody's time. For taking time to join us Friday night, you could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here to share in the knowledge and in the discussion, for us to grow as a community in the cybersecurity space. If you are new to the family or to Cyber Chat, you are very much welcome. And we do this every Friday night, so you are invited to join us every Friday night. And tonight's topic, we are going to be discussing how to apply for cybersecurity jobs in 2024. So applying for cybersecurity jobs can be a bit tricky, right? Mostly I always say you don't know what you don't know, right? And then sometimes you hit, like you applying and like you hit a wall, right? You don't seem to get ahead and there are no responses and all that. And we are going to discuss all that tonight, right? So you are welcome. We are beginning time now. So you are welcome to Eretmis Cyber Security Academy. Eretmis Academy, we train cybersecurity professionals, and Eretmis Academy is uh, the organization bringing us Cyber Chat. And I'm Dr. Emmanuel Edu. I'm going to be your instructor for tonight. I'm unable to be on video because I was in another engagement. So we are going to move on without the video. And also, a big announcement. So tomorrow, we are hosting graduation ceremony for our interns. So you are very much welcome to join us. The link will be posted at the end of today's Cyber Chat. So please do well to join us, celebrate our interns. They did really awesome. Went through 10 major cybersecurity projects. A lot of work that was, done within 2.5 months thereabout. So I'm Dr. Emmanuel Edu. I'm a former professor at University of Maryland Global Campus. I'm a former United States Army captain. I'm the CEO of Eretmis Inc., a cybersecurity consulting firm based out of New York, and a KUSA company. And soon to be, hopefully by the end of this month, Eretmis will be an ASV, PCI ASV company also as well. We are almost done. Almost there. Just a few touches, and we will be on the PCI side for ASB scans also as well. So you are welcome. Also, I'm the founder of Eretmis Academy and the facilitator for Cyber Chat for most of the time. So you are going to be seeing me a lot if this is the first time of joining us on Cyber Chat. So we are going to move into our discussion for tonight. Now, Eretmis Academy is also an authorized CompTIA partner. So if you are looking to write any certification, CompTIA certification exams, we have 20% discount that we hand over to all our community members. So you are welcome to reach out. We will give you the 20% discount on any CompTIA voucher. Now, this is only for CompTIA. Other certification bodies, they don't have any discounts that they are handing out, even if you're a partner. So I think last week somebody was asking if maybe ISACA or ISC Square had something also on those lines, but unfortunately they don't, right? And then also everything that we are doing here tonight, when you join Cyber Chat, you can use your participation here as part of your continuous education points for any certification renewal that is coming up. So if you have to renew your Security Plus, CompTIA, Security Plus, or any of the certifications, you can use webinars like this one to help pass your certification or renew your certification without sitting for the exam again, right? So we've discussed this a couple of times. We have the video on our YouTube channel. And for Eretmis, we have a cybersecurity group, a cybersecurity group. So if you're interested in joining this, the link will also be posted. You can join as well. And for cyber chats and everything else, cybersecurity that we do, we post it in the cyber group, in the WhatsApp group. So please do well join. It's a huge community. I think we're almost 1,000 now. So we do everything, discussion, cybersecurity stuff, and career progression and all that, right? So you're very welcome to join. The link will be posted in the chat. And then also we have a YouTube channel that is growing. I think we are probably going to hit 10,000 tonight. So 10K on our YouTube channel, which is a huge event for us because we don't actively promote our YouTube channel, but gradually it is catching up. So we appreciate all of you signing up. And if you've not subscribed already, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Everything that we are doing here tonight will be posted on the YouTube, and it is also being transmitted live on our YouTube channel as well. Right. So you are welcome to check out our YouTube channel. So for tonight, we are going to look at one cyber chat, one cybersecurity news, and then we will jump into how to actually go about applying for cybersecurity jobs in 2024. And some of the areas that we are going to be looking at is preparation, job applications, actually doing the applications and interviews and job offer. There are a lot to discuss within these areas. So we are going to jump into our cyber news for tonight. So this week, big cyber news, we are only going to look at one. And, the tax season is just around the corner. And guess what? Attackers are also doing. So scammers are also, prepping really hard for, people who are going to fall victim to tax return scams, right? So tax return scams, they are ads about tax returns are flooding YouTube and Facebook and all these social media outlets that we have. So we are just going to look at some few pointers on how to look out for, how to go about, researching and getting the best agents without these scams that are out there, right? So we are going to look at some use cases here shortly. Now, IRS, this is also partly from IRS. They are advising against just going with anybody or just Googling and finding anybody on the net and going with them for your tax returns or tax advice and all that, right? So an example, there is a website that is claiming they were set up 2016, but actually they were set up 2023. And we have like duplicates of this website. So this is the website, right? So if you look at the URL here, it says taxquestions.org. This one is mytaxhelpercenter.org. Almost identical website, using the same template, same like out format and everything. Now these numbers, most of them are online numbers that they just purchase, right? And if you reach out to them, I mean, then you've just given them the go ahead to take you on a ride, right? So, and then they have testimonials, almost the same fake testimonials that they have on all their websites, right? So if you Google IRS support line, this is some of the results that you're gonna get. And these scammers, what they do is they've paid, like these are paid ads. So these are going to come ahead of even IRS's own website, right? So just be on the lookout. If you are seeing anything, mostly when you search Google, right, results that you see, anything that is sponsored or that is a paid ad, mostly skip and go to ads that are that are generic, that just popped up because they've done well in the search engine, right? So just be on the lookout for this if you are looking for any support or any, and then also be on the lookout for the ad for the URL, right? So the URL, if you are going to a government website for the US, it is going to like the extension is going to be .gov, G-O-V. .org doesn't make it a government website, or .com. All government websites, none of them are using .org or .com, right? So if anybody is trying to, portray themselves to be from IRS, or even a third party company, just be sure you are going to the actual company's website, not a clone version of it, right? And then also another, side of doing taxes is tax software. So tax software like TurboTax and the rest. There are some scammers who are also, pushing out similar products. They don't actually have the products, but they'll lead you into, or even if they are presenting something to be the product, you are going to end up giving them your information, and the tax that you are trying to file is not going to go anywhere, right? So be on the lookout for that also as well. They are pretending they are selling these softwares, and they are all also bogus. And sometimes, like I said, they pay for these ads because and they pay, really well for these because they know what they're going to get out of it, even if one person falls a victim, right? So just be on the lookout, even for software, tax software, especially those that might be free, right? Be on the lookout for it, right? So also another example, if you Google, Quicken Tech Support. So this is an actual company, right, that helps with stuff. So these results, the first two that we have here, they are all scams, right? And they have, something on the lines of what we are looking for, right? So this is the official website for Quicken.com. But then you have these two, and these are sponsored. If you see sponsored on here, please skip these and just go directly to the ones that are not sponsored, right? So at least that is one way of getting around it. Okay. So this is the legit one. So this is another example or case study. So hopefully everybody is taking something from this. And if anybody else has anything that has to do with, tax return scams, please, you can at least maybe 2 or 3 people can share with the family, and then we are going to move forward into our main discussion points for tonight, right? So any inputs from the group, and we are going to jump ahead. Now, one red flag or some of the red flags to look out for, if they are promising a huge or a big refund, or if the charge or whatever they are going to charge you for a fee is going to be based on the size of your refund, then, run, right? That is all that I can say. So just be on the lookout. And ultimately, IRS is also saying that each individual taxpayer is ultimately legally responsible for all the information on your tax return, right? Your income tax return. So regardless of who is preparing it, if you just give it to somebody and they do something with it, you are ultimately responsible for it, right? So just please be on the lookout. We are looking at this predominantly because not just for cybersecurity, but it's the tax season, and scammers are also really trying to take advantage of this also as well, like they always do. So we are going to move forward now. Any inputs from the group? Maybe somebody has some, insights or something that we might not be privy to, if you have anything like that, please raise your virtual hand. We'll give you the floor and at least 2 inputs, and we are going to move forward. All right, then I think everybody should be good, right? Nobody has fallen victim to any of these, so which should be good. All right, so we are going to move forward to preparing or to applying. We are going to look at applying for cybersecurity jobs in 2024, right? Now, there are 4 main phases when it comes to applying for a cybersecurity job. The first phase is preparation, right? The next one is applying for the job itself. The next one is doing the interview. And then last one is the job offer. And we are going to look at all these 3 because there's a lot to cover in these 3 areas, right? So we will first look at preparation. So for preparation, what are we really looking at, right? Under preparation, you have to understand the cybersecurity field, and we are going to look more into that, what we mean by understanding the cybersecurity field. Last week, we kind of went over understanding the cybersecurity field, the different categories that we have in cybersecurity, the 7 categories that we have, the 33 specialty areas, and the 56, I think 56 there about general job roles, or they call it, job roles or work roles. That is an area to start with when it comes to understanding the cybersecurity field in terms of the job market and the roles or the job titles that are in the job market. Now, we also have to acquire the necessary skills and certifications to be able to land a cybersecurity job, right? And the third thing we are going to look at is to build practical experience that is going to help you not just for the interviews, but also on the job, right? And then preparing your application material. So that includes your resume and your cover letter and all that, right? So we are going to look at these one after the other. So still under preparation, we are going to look at understand the cybersecurity field. So you cannot be successful in your job application in the cybersecurity space if you don't really if you don't really know or you don't understand what is going on, right? And what do I mean by this? There are so many countless times that people reach out about, I want to apply for a cybersecurity job. I've done the training here and there. I think I know enough. I want to apply for a cybersecurity job. And you ask them just one question, and they're all over the place. And the question is, okay, so what job titles are you looking for? Or are you looking to apply to? And they're like, well, because I've not worked in the industry, and all that is just excuses. Researching into the different job titles and the different areas within cybersecurity doesn't require you to have worked in cybersecurity, for even a day. That is all just research that you can do to prepare yourself and be more knowledgeable about the industry. Every industry that you want to work in, you have to be a student of the industry. So being a student of the industry means you have to learn the different roles, the different job titles in the industry. I'm going to give you a very simple and quick example. So when I decided to join the Army, aside everything else that I was learning and getting to know about the military and the Army in particular, one of the key things that I wanted, like that I knew was going to set me apart, was knowing the ranking system, right? You cannot join the Army and don't know, like, a sergeant from a private, a colonel from like a major general, right? So you are just moving around and you see a captain and you are just walking by instead of saluting, right? You have to learn the symbols that goes with the ranks and all that. So being an industry of the industry that you want to get in, that is a very typical example, right? So you learn all the ranks. Okay, from this rank, I move to that rank, from that rank. So when I'm getting in, which rank am I starting with? Right? What is the salary for that rank? How do I get to the next rank? You know, what are these people getting for this rank? What did they do to get there? All that is part of what you have to do, and you know, some of the research that you have to do to really know about the industry, right? Not just knowing about what cybersecurity is and the things that networking and all that. All that is good. Now, if you want to get a job, you have to learn about the workforce. So research about the workforce within the cybersecurity space. Just like the example that I gave, I wanted to join the United States Army. So guess what? What I did was first to learn the ranks and the symbols, because different countries for different armies, they have different symbols for their ranks. And some of, you know, mostly for like the military, like the ranking system is pretty much almost the same everywhere, right? But the symbols and everything changes. Even within the different services in the United States, Army, Navy, Coast Guard, and the rest, their symbols are almost the same for ranking system, and their ranks are almost the same, but not really. Right? On the officer side, I think it's almost the same. On the enlisted side, if you're a staff sergeant in the Air Force, that rank is equivalent to a sergeant in the Army. Right? So you have to learn the industry. You have to know what is going on. So when we are bringing it back to cybersecurity or IT, or you know, cybersecurity specifically, because we are doing cybersecurity, before, as part of your preparation, if you want to land a cybersecurity job in 2024, learn the different job titles. So those are going to be the ranks. Who is in charge of what? Right? What is the role of a CISO? How do you get to the level of a CISO? What qualifications do you need? What do you need to know? Who is a cybersecurity analyst? Who is a senior cybersecurity analyst? What is the difference between a SOC analyst and a cybersecurity analyst? And all this information, you don't have to have worked in cybersecurity to find out. You can find most of these on Google, or talk to somebody in the industry and just pick their brain, right? That is why you are here. We are discussing, you know, this also here. Even for Eretmis Cybersecurity for Beginners, the free course, we go over some of the job titles and what you do in those job titles. All those are some of the ways that you prepare for a cybersecurity job. So let's look at what we have here in the presentation. In cybersecurity, generally, there are two main, you know, sides to cybersecurity, right? I mean, we have the blue and red team, but then there's like pink and purple team and white team, and that originally it was just red and blue. Now we came up with, you know, white and all that based on some other roles that kind of, you know, overlap within these two main roles. So basically, we have offensive and defensive, just like in military operations, offensive and defensive. And in football, we also have offensive and defense, right? So the offensive side of cybersecurity, they are the ones who are attacking, you know, trying to find vulnerabilities within our system. So this includes your ethical hackers, penetration testing, and forensics and all that area, right? That is the offensive. So this is just basic. You have to know the difference between these two. And then the defensive is everybody else who is defending, right? So now when we go into teams, cybersecurity teams, the white teams and the rest, they are, you know, the folks who are in the middle. So, you know, offensive, they are not on the offensive or defensive. They're in the middle trying to see or, you know, regulate who is doing what, right? But we are not getting into all that. Basically, for somebody looking for a job in 2024, what you need to know is, which side am I going to, offensive or defensive? Right? That is just basic. Now, if you are going to offensive, then you know the kind of skill set, technical skill sets that you need. If you are going on the defensive side, then you have an idea of the kind of technical skills that you need. Now, soft skills are almost the same on both sides, but it's more heavy on the defensive side, right? So the defensive side, some of the job titles include security analyst, compliance analyst, auditor, incident response, specialist or analyst, information assurance analyst, name it, ISO, there a whole list of it, right? So there's a lot, like a lot of roles in the blue side. So the red side also involves, most people will say, I don't want the technical side because maybe they are trying to run away from coding. The red side involves more coding. Blue side, not so much, right? If you look at the blue side as a percentage, maybe probably 10% of some of the job roles, and those will be like most of your engineering roles, and the rest that will require some, and architectural roles that will require some, coding, right? But even for that, is not all of it. 90% of it, generally we can say that don't involve any coding of any sort, right? So knowing the two different sides and which side you want to play on is going to inform your choice of jobs that you are picking to apply to or to apply for, right? So now let's move into specialization. So specialization simply is identifying which area that you want to move into. So blue side or red side. So for most of our cybersecurity entry-level students who will finish the course and move into internship and finish internship, what we tell you is you can do almost everything at the entry intermediate level on the blue side, right? The training is not preparing you to be a penetration tester or an ethical hacker or a forensics expert, right? Because we don't do coding and take you through any of those curriculum for you to be able to function there. So we just let you know from the get-go, this is where we are going to put you into specialized, right? So for the blue side, most of the job titles, if you have a very good foundation in security, you can function in most of the job titles. Now, some people also get into specialization, right? Not specialization, but actually picking a niche, right? If you are starting off in security, right, you are just from a different field moving into cybersecurity field, you cannot just move into like a specialty area, right? It is possible, but that you have to go through some, a very robust career path. And what do I mean by that? You need so let's say somebody wants to move straight into PCI or to move straight into HIPAA or some specialized area. You can still do so coming from nowhere, but what you are doing is you have to go through a course like the cybersecurity entry level course, do internship, and instead of applying for a job and start working as a security professional, you want to do a follow-up and just jump into PCI or some course like that. Either than that, just jumping directly into a specialized course, you are doing yourself a disservice, right? If you have some IT background moving into it, that is, but if you are totally new to IT, new to cybersecurity, then it's advisable, you get like you are going to go through a program that is really going to build your foundation in security. And based on that, as you start working, you hit 2-3 years, you can look at specializing in a specific area, right? But overall, even after specialization, you are still a cybersecurity professional. So you should be able to function in different roles. When your company needs you to do something outside your specialty, you are not going to say, no, I just specialize here. So, I'm not going to, help you with that. You should be able to, right? Now, another thing that we have to look at in terms of understanding the cybersecurity field is compensation. So compensation, what is fair compensation? Last week, we looked at the average salary for a cybersecurity professional from a government agency, from the Bureau of, what is their name? Bureau of Labor Statistics. Bureau of Labor Statistics, if I got the name right. They track salaries for all professions in the United States. And according to them, the minimum salary was, I think, 112, 115, right? The average, not the minimum, the average 150, 112. Now you have to also do your research based on, roles within which side you want to go to. So for the blue team, for the red team, red side, blue side, offensive or defensive, what generally are the salaries within that job title that you are looking at. And for this, you don't even have to look any further. All you have to do is simply go on these job sites and search for, roles within those areas, and you'll be able to have like a rough idea what companies are offering for that role, right? You have to do all that research also as well to help you understand the industry. So if you're applying, okay, compensation wise during interviews, this is the rough compensation that I'm going to talk about. And this is the fair compensation. So if you know that role is paying, and basing that also on the national average is 100 plus, right? And if that role typically pays 120, and you go to an interview for that role and they're offering you 85, then obviously, you are not going to take that, right? Now, some people will say, but I'm starting off, I just want to get my foot into the door. It's good. I mean, if you want to go with that approach, fine, you can just get your foot into the door. But you are selling yourself short. So if you believe in yourself, you have the knowledge and skill to be able to work and function, then at least something on the national average is what you should go for, right? Because if you decide to take that amount, for that company, you've saved them some money. And HR, I think last time when we did something on these lines, job preparation, there was an HR, guru on here who spoke to this. I don't remember the name. I'm trying to remember, but I'm not sure if it was Sydney. But she was talking about, HR tries to, or like hiring managers, they try to save their company money, and how much money they're able to save on all these recruitments at the end of the year. I think it is given to them as bonus, or they use it for something else, right? For HR's benefit or something. So, don't think they are doing you any favors by giving you the job. They are not going to give you the job if they don't feel like you are qualified for it. So you have to also know your value. But you cannot know your value if you don't know the fair market price, right? So if the fair market price for the role you are looking for is 100K and you are looking for 350K, then you are going to be wasting your time even applying for such a job. So understand the compensation, the compensation aspect of the industry also as well. And then also skills, what skill sets do you need, right? And which skill sets align with the role or with the area that you want to go into, blue side or red side, right? So researching into these roles, salary, and all that will help you to decide or to know which skills set that you need. Now, you can do this before you even get into any cybersecurity training or prepare yourself, or after your training. Once you identify the skill sets and the knowledge needed, you can bounce that off what you know in terms of the knowledge and skills you have already, right? And then also you have to be a student of the industry. So you have to constantly be staying up to date on cybersecurity trends, threats, technologies, and regulations, right? They can ask you this during interviews. And for you yourself, it is good for you to be up to speed if you want to really be in the industry, right? Example is what we did for the cyber security news. And if you Google cybersecurity news if you Google cybersecurity news, there are a lot of, outlets that are providing really good cybersecurity news for you to follow. And then also cybersecurity trends, you can also find that very easy online, right? So this knowledge of current events in the cyberspace and threats and technologies, they are not only going to help you on the job, but also during interviews. If I know most interviews, they'll ask you what is going on, or like what is the latest trend and all that. And those should be some of the easy questions that you are going to get on your interview. But if you don't prepare and you are not truly a student of the industry, then that is going to throw you off, right? So as part of the preparation, another area that we are also going to look at is acquiring the necessary skills and certifications. So this also forms a very important aspect of the whole process, right? Now, most often you can get an interview if you have a very good resume. But then for you to pass that interview stage, it will depend on this stage of the preparation, the acquiring the necessary skills, not even the certification, the skills, the knowledge and the skills, right? Last week, we saw that in cybersecurity, when we looked at the cybersecurity competency model. So if you were not here last week, please go on our YouTube channel. Last week's topic was how to break into cybersecurity in 2024. We went through a lot. Skills that are needed. We looked at the cybersecurity competency model and the different tiers of skills that are needed, right? So technical, we concluded, or the competency model showed us that we do not only need technical skills, but we also need soft skills as well. Now, like I was saying earlier on, your resume will get you the interview. What is going to help you scale the interview is your knowledge and skill you are bringing to the table. Your technical knowledge and your soft skills, or your non-technical knowledge, they are both going to help you scale the levels of interviews which we are going to look at to be able to eventually land the job, right? So for technical skills, what are we looking at for technical skills? So going back to understanding the cybersecurity field, if you understand which area you want to move into, now you can determine, that will help you to determine the skill, the knowledge and skills that you need to be able to function within the security space. Now, with that being said, I'm still going back, right? Whether you want to work in the red team or the blue team side, like, or the red or blue side, or offensive or defensive, overall, you need a very good working knowledge in all areas of cybersecurity, right? Now, on the red team, you are going to build on that with some specialty or some, special skill sets. Also on the blue side with some special skill set, but all those skill sets, they are dependent on your basic understanding of major areas of security, such as networking, cryptography, the risk management, and all that, right? So based on the training that you've had already, depending on the area you want to go into. So if we've established you want to go on the blue side, do defensive side, auditing and all that, now you will, based on that, you'll be able to identify some of the skill sets and knowledge that you need. Now, this doesn't have to be rocket science, right? It's very easy to identify the skill set that you are going to need for the particular job titles you are looking for. And how are we going to do that? We will do a very quick demonstration when we go through all the slides. Now, this is pretty easy. Go to the job sites, search for, sometimes just even put in cyber, right? Don't even search for any specific job title. Now, cyber will bring almost everything out. When it comes out, you're going to take your time and go through. So let's say I'm looking for a cybersecurity analyst, and information security analyst roles. I will pick at least 4 or 5 or 6 information security analyst roles. I will look at the job description and the skills they are looking for. All of that is going to be listed. So I don't have to do any hard work. Look at all of them, or I'm just going to copy and paste them. Once you are done, look through for the 5 different job descriptions that you are looking at least 40 to 50% of the listings on there are going to be the same. Sometimes even 70%. So nobody should tell you, okay, everybody is looking for these 70% skills and knowledge. So now you are going to use that to polish up on whatever you have, right? So last week, we also distributed the gap analysis tool that you're going to be using to identify the gaps in your knowledge and skill based on the competency model. And that we posted that in the WhatsApp group. So if you are part of the WhatsApp group and you didn't check, please check. It is in there as well. So that will help you to also do some gap analysis in terms of the skills that you are lacking and the knowledge that you are lacking, right? So this is a very easy way to identify the skills needed within the space that you want to go into in terms of job titles, right? And we are going to do a demonstration of this, so hang on tight. Now, for soft skills are a bit tricky, right? The easiest of these 2 skills to get, or the easiest to get trained on, is the technical skills. The hardest to get trained on is soft skills, right? If you cannot pay attention to detail to save your life, I don't know how long it's going to take me for you to be able to train you on that. If you just hate working with people, I can do a lot of things, but I don't think I can train you on that to change that behavior within 6 months. But I can train you on the technical skills at least within 5 to 6 months. I can train you on the technical skills really well, right? But on this side, the soft skill side, that is the tricky part. And during all cybersecurity interviews, that is what is going to make or break you mostly is the soft skills, right? You go through your technical skills easy if you are really up to speed on your technical, side of the house. Now, when it comes to the soft skill side, that is what is going to get like that is what is going to break you. And why am I saying that? And why is that? Right. So I want everybody to ask themselves these questions that I'm about to ask and see how easy you come up with answers. And even with the answers you're coming up with, how do you know you are wrong or right? If I ask you a technical skill, so name me some of the secure protocols, right? It's very easy. Oh, I'm SSH, that and that and that, and you are right. There is no, it's not subjective, right? But mostly technical skills are not subjective. So you can give me a list of stuff and they are all going to be correct. Now, for the soft skills side, if I ask you, what is your leadership skills? Or how well do you lead? How well of a team player are you? Or better still, I give you a scenario, right? So Michael is one of your team members. Michael is not doing his part of the, teamwork. What are you going to do about it as a team leader? Right. So everybody, something is going through your head. Well, I will do this, I will do that. How do you know what you are saying is going to make sense to whoever is listening to you? Right. How well do you work under stress? Give me a scenario of a situation where you are working under stress and what was the outcome? How do you prepare for such questions? Because for the technical side, like we all, saw, is straightforward and it's like math, right? 1+1 is 2. 2+2 is 4. There is no way around it. It's not subjective. But if I'm asking you, what are you going to do about it if Malachi is not doing his part of the work? Somebody will say, well, I'll talk to Malachi and, see what the problem is. And, I'll help him with whatever he needs help with. All that is good. But is that really what the hiring manager or whoever is interviewing you wants to hear? Right? Or better still, when they ask you, tell me about yourself, it's the most difficult question that you can ever get. And people think, yeah, I mean, that is easy. Well, tell me about yourself. You can literally just be shooting yourself in the foot the whole time if you don't know how to go about it. So tell me about yourself. Are they really asking for where you went to school and your family and your pets and your best friend? And what are they really looking for when they ask you, tell me about yourself during an interview? And, mind you, for those interviewing you, like hiring managers and HR, and they are very nice people. Everything you say, they'll be nodding and pretending they are very engaging, but in their head, they are like, well, I think Malachi is talking nonsense, right? But they're not going to show in their face. You're not going to see, right? So because I mean, but they are judging, and then also the tricky part about this is for the soft skills part, there are a lot of questions they are not going to ask you, but they are going to grade you on. Right? They are just going to infer answers from, because for hiring managers, they have two main objectives or two main goals in their job. And the first goal is a selfish one. As a hiring manager, if I'm a hiring manager, what is my job? My job is to hire the best talent. So I'm not going to hire somebody who is going to be fired tomorrow. Then it means what? I didn't do my job well. So the hiring manager is trying to make sure whoever is coming in that he's hiring is responsible. He's not going to come in and leave the company tomorrow and say, hey, I got a better job, so I'm leaving. They are responsible and they are going to be a good fit for their company in terms of culture, in terms of everything. So they have their own selfish interests first before they even look at the company's interest, which is to hire the best talent. Because if you're a hiring manager and for the past 6 months, all the people that you hired, there are problems and issues with them. Some are being fired, some are, on different tangents. How does that make you look as a hiring manager? Like, how is your job going? You're also eventually going to get fired because you're picking on the wrong people. So the soft skills is what they are going to be using to really gauge, who they are going to bring on and who kind of will fit the organizational culture. That it doesn't have to be difficult. There are ways around it, right? We have a lot of cyber chat videos where we're discussing soft skills and how to answer these questions. So please go back to our YouTube channel, How to Answer Cybersecurity Interview Questions. We tackled soft skills also as well. So you can, and that is a full session, so you can go take a look at it. Right. Now, let's jump into certifications. So with certifications, you don't need certifications to land a cybersecurity job. Caveat to that is, if you have a certification, it will significantly enhance your job application. So if you have it, it's good to have. But then what you also want to do is that you can have a certification and it's going to go against you. Right. And what do I mean by that? So let's say I'm starting off in security. I think I'm a pretty smart guy. So I'm just chasing certifications without the knowledge and skill to back it up. So I'm just getting practice tests, memorizing some of these questions, writing the exam. I don't know half of the things on the exam, and I managed to get Security Plus, CISSP, CISA, SIM, and every 2 months or every now and then I'm getting a new certification. And even worse, I don't know what some people are thinking. Worse, some people have others write certifications for them. There is a whole scheme of people who write certifications for others, right? And some of the big certifications also as well, right? So they can write it for you all day. But during interviews, if I'm interviewing you and I'm asking you stuff that you're supposed to know as somebody who is holding Security Plus and you don't know them, then that is the end of the interview, really. So, but if you didn't have Security Plus, then I cannot really hold your feet to the fire, right? So having the certifications are good. Don't get too ahead of yourself. Make sure you have the knowledge and skill to back whatever you have before you move on to the next certification. So don't be a certificate chaser. Just chasing certifications because you think stacking them up means that is what shows that you are, really well vested in security. No, it is what you know and what you can do. That is really going to show how your mastery. Because having those certifications and not having the knowledge and skill to back it up makes you look like sometimes a moron, right? Because there you are, they ask you a very simple, basic question and you are going in circles because you think you know how to talk. It doesn't work. Like, you are not deceiving anybody but yourself, right? And you yourself, you are just talking for talking sake. So don't get into that space. Now, that doesn't mean you don't need to. I encourage everybody to get a certification. If you're trying to break into security, at least the process of going through getting Security Plus, CEH, and the rest, if you go through and you're actually learning, acquiring the skills and knowledge for the certification, it is going to help you not just getting the certification, but also on the job, because that is also adding to your knowledge base in security, right? So acquiring the knowledge and skill is also one major step of, landing your cybersecurity or, getting your cybersecurity job in 2024. Now, this is all part of preparation, right? So let's move on to I think probably like the last step in preparation. So aside acquiring the technical skills and soft skills, and then also the certifications and some of the certifications, you also have to, at least you have to do some doing. And what do I mean by do some doing? You can gain knowledge and maybe some, skills out of the knowledge that you gain by practicing or looking at some stuff, looking at somebody doing it. But you have to also get your hands dirty, right? So working on personal projects, getting into internships like the one we have at Eretmis, right? That is all going to help. So mostly I tell people, if you are getting into the cybersecurity space and you don't know any tool, you don't know how to use any tool, you are, doing yourself a big disservice. Why? Because a lot of these tools, they are free versions of them that you can download and use yourself. Your experience of using tools and working on projects, they don't have to be paid projects. So you can be practicing with Excel, practicing with Nexus, practicing with Qualys at home, getting different projects. I mean, if you have guidance, it's better because then you have like a structure, something that you're going through. If not, and you think you are doing self-study or you are doing, doing like whatever you are doing, get some projects under your belt. That boosts your confidence. It also lets you know firsthand how things work, right? Because in interviews, you can only speak so much if all you know is book knowledge, right? If all you know is okay, and then also, now you don't have to really memorize as much if you've actually done it, because doing it does something to your brain, right? It makes everything start to make sense. And if you are asked a question on it, they can, catch you off guard because anything they're gonna ask you, you've done it. You've been there, you've done that. Even if you've not done the actual thing, you've done something similar. Or you can easily, hey, okay, I'm not really up to speed on Splunk, but I've been using maybe QRadar, and this is how I use QRadar, and I use it for this project, I use it for this. Anybody who knows how to use QRadar or Splunk, they can easily transition into the other because they are all same tools, right? So that is going to get your foot into the door. But if you don't know any tools at all, then you are doing yourself a disservice. Now, aside just knowing tools, you have to also work on different projects, like working on a risk register, working on maybe an audit, doing some gap analysis, working on a vulnerability scan, coming up with remediation for the scans. Depending on whichever, job title you are looking for, you have to identify some of the projects within those areas and work on them, right? So for internship, if you are looking for something to get your hands dirty, Eretmis cybersecurity internship is also a very good space for you to get your hands dirty, get some real cybersecurity experience. Now, if you are not fortunate to get yourself into a cybersecurity space and you have something IT related still, so let's say, or like software developers, you happen to find yourself in that space, you can also learn a lot, right? And that most of the stuff you are doing there, some are transferable in the cyberspace as well, right? And then last one that we are going to look at for building practical experiences, networking. So if you go on Google now and you type in cybersecurity events for 2024, there is a whole list of it. Those that are in person, online, find yourself in one of them, not just one, but a couple of them. Because you are networking, you are learning in the industry, you are, learning from folks who are already in it, people who are also, trying to get into it, like yourself, and you are building, your network, your cybersecurity network, you are gradually building it. If you are here today, you are doing the same thing, building your cybersecurity network, right? So it is very important to do this. Now, this can lead to some job openings. There are some jobs that are not even announced. Not all. So cybersecurity jobs, not all of it are posted on on these job sites. Some they don't even post it, right? So if you are in the industry, linking up with people, attending conferences and stuff like that, it's very easy to make some good acquaintances, and people will like to employ people that they know and people that they like, right? So that is also one of the things that you have to do for preparation, right? Now, the last stage, the previous one wasn't the last one. The last one, very last one that we are looking at for preparation, and most importantly, is preparing the materials you are going to use for your application. So after everything that we talked about, right? So gaining the knowledge and skill, researching into the industry, to look at what is out there, compensation and all that. After all that, if you don't have a very good resume, you are not going to get any hits or get any interviews. So the documents that you are going to use for your application, resume is number one, cover letters, and then also now your online presence. So your presence on LinkedIn, like your professional online presence, like LinkedIn and the rest, they are all going to, be used in your application process, right? So for your resume, we're also going to probably look at a practical example. Let's say you have no templates, like how we give to Eretmis students, but you are coming from somewhere you don't have any templates. You've been all over the place. How do you build a very powerful resume, or how do you come up with a resume that is really going to, catch fire, right? Catch fire meaning you're going to have a lot of phone calls and follow-ups and interviews. How do you build a resume like that if you don't have a template? Now, the structure of the resume also counts, right? So with today's AI tools out there, you can use AI to come up with a structure, right? ChatGPT can help you. Hey, create a resume for me for a cybersecurity job, blah, blah. It will give you some outlines and some structure. Now, you shouldn't totally rely on AI, because what you can do, AI cannot do, right? And what do I mean by that? If you have to tailor your resume to a job description, AI can only do so much. But you, as a person, looking at it and reading it with your own, logical reasoning, you'll be able to come up with better options than AI. AI is a robot, right? Trained to do things in a certain way. So you can always do better than AI. And if you want your resume to be a very beefed up resume that is going to help get you a lot of response, a very easy and simple way to do it is by going directly to the source. What is the source? You are going to use the resume to apply for a job, right? Now look for these jobs online. Look at the job descriptions they are looking for. Use that and pick the ones that you can do, right? So if there is 10 things listed on there, and your skill sets and the knowledge you have right now, you can do 80% of it. Pick that 80%, put it on your resume, right? One that will help you with the wording. It will help you with keywords, and you are not, putting different wording or different keywords than what they are looking for in that job space or that job title that you are looking for, right? So if they are looking for, probably if you have to write your own bullets, you are going to write, I conducted an audit, using maybe CIS controls. But when you look at the job description, they've worded it differently, right? Maybe they are saying you should be able to conduct gap analysis using CIS controls. Maybe using CIS controls version 8. So because of that, when you conduct an audit, eventually you are going to do some gap analysis as well. So, okay, I'm just going to put gap analysis instead of the audit that I put there, because I can do that also as well, right? Now, this might look like a lot of work, but it's a lot of work that is going to save you time and energy on the backside than to just get somebody's template and just change the name and put your name on there and start submitting it, right? That is where people run into a lot of frustration and it's not working. I don't think this is for me. Cybersecurity jobs are there, like we discovered last week, but they are also not handing it out as candy. There are more cybersecurity jobs there than any other IT field. But then it also takes 20%, or I think it was 28% or 21% longer to fill cybersecurity jobs than all other IT jobs, right? Because cybersecurity, you are playing a special critical role. So they are not just putting anybody on there if they don't feel comfortable that you can do the job, right? So they rather have the job open than to have somebody in there who is not competent or so that is kind of the ideology here. So it means that when you are going to, if you want to get picked, you want to have interviews, you have to make sure you are putting in the work. This is where a lot of people, after going through a lot of training, learning a lot, having the skills and knowledge, they get, like they like hit the brakes here because they apply for 1, 2, 3 jobs. They don't get any response and they just give up. No. If you prepare well and you are using some of these skill sets that, or like some of these tricks and tips that, we are discussing tonight, you are going to, scale that's very easy, right? So, and then also we come to cover letters, right? Now for resumes, maximum, you should have at least 2 pages. If you have 6 pages for resume, 7 pages, nobody has time to look at your 7 pages or 6 pages. At most 2, right? Keep it at 2. So whatever you have to do to summarize, and then also your resume is not going to be your whole entire life work history. So if you've been in IT, let's say, for example, I've been in IT for 24 years. I'm switching into cybersecurity now. Do you think I can fit all my 24 years of IT experience on a 2-page resume? Of course not, right? So your resume is not going to cover everything that you've done professionally in your life. What you did that really, whatever you've done that applies to cybersecurity or you think is going to let them see your skill sets in the light of cybersecurity, that is what you put on there. So if that means I have to cut down reduce my, maybe just go back as far as just 5 years, for my job experience for a cybersecurity role, maybe an entry-level role or borderline intermediate level role, I'm going to do that, right? Let's not get, like into that space of we want to let them see that I've done all this and I'm like the baddest out there. It doesn't really matter. They don't have time to look at 6 pages. So you want to be as competitive as possible, right? So we put what is relevant on there. If you've done like 10 different jobs or you've been in 10 different industries, you don't put all industries on there. You put what applies. So probably you were a nurse, you changed, you got bored, you became a pilot, you flew American Airlines for 5 years and you became bored, you joined the army and you became bored. And when you're applying for a cybersecurity job, you have to, pick and choose what is going to apply, right? If you have some soft skills from this area that is going to apply, that is what you're going to put on there, right? You are not just going to put everything. I was a nurse, then I became a lawyer and I became a carpenter and then I became, then like you are just telling them you don't know what you're about, right? But you can package it really well where it is all going to make sense, right? And also for resumes, we've done a full-blown cyber chat on it, so you can dig more into that on the Eretmis Cybersecurity YouTube channel, right? So now let's move into cover letters. Now I know there are some questions. When I get to a good stopping point, I'll allow. Right. So for cover letters, I just said your resume shouldn't be more than 2 pages. So if you have something more to say, the appropriate place to say it is on your cover letter, right? Your cover letter will help you to, explain more who you are and what you are bringing to the table. So like I'm saying, in these 2 things, your resume and your cover letter and your online appearance, if you are lazy about it, then the job application and on the backside, things are also going to slow down for you, right? You have to put a lot of time and effort into this to be successful during the application process and also to, get away from a lot of the stress and a lot of the disappointments out there in terms of applying and not getting any positive response. Right? So your cover letter is an opportunity for you to, give more about your background and how it applies to the job you're applying for and how you'll be able to help the company get from point A to point B. Right now, for your online presence, simply what I'll say is for LinkedIn now, professionally is LinkedIn, right? It is not by law or it is not mandatory to have a LinkedIn presence if you don't want to. right? So the funny part is on LinkedIn, who sets up your LinkedIn profile? Everybody says their own LinkedIn profile up, right? So Dr. Edu can put on there, hey, I was the president of the United States from January 2023 to February 2023. And nobody's going to tell me to like pull it down or no, it is not true. I can put anything on there. But the funny part about this is employers, they take everything on LinkedIn like as if it's the gospel truth or as if that is. So if let's say you made a mistake on LinkedIn, they are going to use that against you. But I mean, I was the one who put it on there. That was a mistake. I'm going to change it. No, it's on LinkedIn, so it's set in stone. So if you feel like, switching from one career to the other, uh, your LinkedIn presence has all these things that you've done previously, and you don't know how to, bring out the things that applies to security, and you don't want to have a LinkedIn profile anymore, you can turn it off for your job application process, right? If they can't find you on LinkedIn, guess what? They are forced to use your resume and your cover letter, right? Because now employers are in that habit. Oh, let me look him up on LinkedIn. Let me look her up on LinkedIn. Oh, she said she did this. Oh, and if you don't know how to set up your LinkedIn well, and you have maybe, like it is not structured in a way that suits them or what they are looking for exactly, instead of using your resume, which you've worked on really hard, tailored to the job, they are going to be looking elsewhere, right? Now, aside LinkedIn, all other online presence that you have, if you're applying for a job, make sure they are more professional, right? So they shouldn't go to your Facebook and you are there doing something that you are not supposed to be doing, or that takes away from your your professionalism. Because, like I said, they are not just looking at your technical abilities or your technical skills, they are looking at your soft skills as well. So you have to be somebody that they will consider to be socially a good fit for their company in terms of culture, right? So if you are doing anything offensive on social media somewhere elsewhere, please, you have to make sure you take all those down when you are applying, doing your applications, right? Now, when you do get a job, and if you deem it fit to, reinstate whatever you had on there that you think was bad, but you still want to put it on there, then that's fine, right? So with that, we move into the job application itself. So very important. This is I mean, everything that we did preparation is super important to the job application. The job application itself should be the easy part because all the hard work has been done at this point. So it's just a matter of submitting to these jobs. But most importantly, there are some tips and tricks to this. So if you are applying to a job, you have to make sure this job is as new as possible. So the job posting is not more than at least 5 days. I'll say maybe five. So good, space to look at is a day to, or 0 hours to probably like 3 days, 4 days, right? So if you're applying to a job that was posted 30 days ago, I will dig more into it, or I will not just waste my time on such jobs, right? And a trick to applying for the job. So where do you go to apply for these jobs, and how do you apply to these jobs? So now there are a lot of job sites out there. Indeed, LinkedIn, uh, ZipRecruiter, Glassdoor, Dice. There's a whole list of it. Mostly, I will encourage you to go with the free ones because the paid ones, they are doing the same thing as the free ones. So because it's a paid job site doesn't mean you're going to get a job faster than somebody looking for a job on LinkedIn. So I'd rather go with the free ones than the paid ones. If you want to use the paid one and it has some special features on there that you want, that is fine. But they are not going to get you there faster than the free ones. So you can apply on any of these websites. If you go on Google and you type job application and also Google is one good place to search for jobs. And reason being that if you type in maybe let's say PCI jobs, in the US, Google is going to pick almost all the PCI job postings on these job sites and list it. So it's very easy to, oh, there's one on LinkedIn. Just click on it, go on there. Okay, come back. There's one here. So Google is also a very good place to search for cybersecurity jobs. Now, there are a lot of cybersecurity jobs out there and different cybersecurity jobs in different niches out there. But if you pay attention to how you are going about the application process and all that, you are going to be very successful. Now, on LinkedIn and other places, if you set up your profile right, recruiters will also reach out because recruiters are also looking for, potential clients or potential talent for their companies or their clients if they are working as third parties, right? So they are also constantly on LinkedIn looking for potential talent. So if you set up your profile right, and what do I mean? If you have the keywords they are looking for, because they also use different search engines to search through the LinkedIn to search through LinkedIn, right? So what you are using on there will help them to easily find you in terms of how you set it up and the keywords that you are using, right? Now, aside using these job boards, a better way of doing this job application is to apply directly on the job websites. So all the jobs that are listed on Indeed, on LinkedIn, or cybersecjobs.com and all those places, all those jobs, they belong to a company. And those companies, they have a website and they have listed those jobs on their own website as well. And why would you want to apply on the company's website, not on Indeed or LinkedIn? Now, I'm not saying if you apply on LinkedIn or Indeed is bad or anything wrong with it, right? But if you apply directly to the job sites, chances of you getting in front of the hiring manager for that particular company is higher than applying on LinkedIn or applying on Indeed. Because what is happening is that there are a lot of recruiting agencies that are going to these companies' websites, picking the jobs and posting them on LinkedIn. And then when you apply, your application comes to the recruiting agency. It doesn't go directly to the company. And the recruiting agencies are doing their own screening to pick the best in their opinion and then sending you to the company that needs the talent, right? But meanwhile, maybe they wouldn't go with you, but if you apply directly to company, the company would have, loved to hear what you have to say, right? So you stand a better chance of getting more hits if you're applying directly to this company's website, right? Now, this also involves work. So if I go on LinkedIn, I see a job post, I look at the company, I go directly to the company's website instead of just doing one-click application. So click applied, click applied, click applied. Just clicking and applying is easy. You can do 300 of it in 5 minutes, but the results you are going to get is probably zero, right? So if you take time and you are going to these job sites individually and applying there with a really good resume, your hits, even if you apply for 5, you might probably get a hit on 1 or 2, right? So taking time to do this, a lot of work goes into this. And most of the times people don't want to do that. A lot of work. And that lot of work sometimes doesn't even take you more than an hour. The people think, it's so much of a hard work. I'm just going to, do a half-baked resume, submit it to almost every job that I find, and hoping some of it is going to stick. Sometimes none of it will stick. So then we move into following up. So after you've made application, and also one thing, if you go to the job sites directly, if you go to maybe probably Target, I go to their website, I search for that. So when you go to their sites, they have maybe job openings directly there to click on, or careers or jobs or something like that. So when you click on it, search specifically for the job title that you found on LinkedIn or Indeed or any of these sites. Now, what will happen is if the job is still open, it's going to show up. If it has already been filled, they will take it down, right? But when they post on LinkedIn or Indeed, Sometimes they pay it for maybe 30 days. So if they fill the position within 2 weeks, they are not in a hurry to take it down. And there you are applying to all these dead jobs, and you are frustrated because you are not getting any hits. But the jobs are not even there to begin with. The fact that they are listed on LinkedIn doesn't mean they are still active, right? Or maybe sometimes they pulled it down because they don't have the funds to support that role anymore. So if you go to the company's website, it's very easy for you to confirm and then apply directly there, right? Now, follow-ups, once you've made an application, at least within a week, follow up, send them an email. Hey, I did apply to this role. I was just following up if there are any, more information on this. If they are moving on with somebody, they'll let you know. In that way, you are not sitting there waiting and expecting, and then there's nothing coming. And, you don't get into that space of, getting frustrated because nothing is coming up. Right. So, and I think for the job application, we are also going to do a demonstration here after we've gone through the presentation. So if you are not getting any positive response after applying to hundreds of jobs and you are just applying and applying and you are getting frustrated, if you are not getting any positive response or no calls or follow-ups for interview, answer is just one. It means your resume is not working. So we have to work on it. Right. Your resume is a working document. You have to be tweaking it, tweaking it, tweaking it. Sometimes, and for most folks who have applied for security jobs and gotten it or other roles, it is like it is not uncommon for you to apply and get hits, and then silence. Right? Like nothing is happening. I mean, you're applying the same resume, similar jobs, and it's like they just went on a meeting and said, we're not going to mind you. Right? That does happen. But when that happens, don't get frustrated. We have to keep tweaking your resume, and then we're going to start getting hits again. So it is very common. You're probably going to get hits, no hits, no hits, no hits, or silence. And then if you work on it, you're going to, move back into, okay, getting hits. Now, if you're not getting anything at all, then your resume is not cutting it. So you have to work on your resume. Right. So either the keywords are not working or you are not tailoring your resume to the job, or you are just using one resume that is not strong enough and you're applying to almost every job, that is not going to work. So when it comes to the job application, there are two ways of doing it, right? One, you have to have one master resume. And then out of that master resume, you are going to be tailoring it to different jobs. So, and that okay, so Dr. Edu, if I want to apply to 50 jobs, doesn't mean I have to tailor it to all 50 jobs. Not really. There is a way around it. For our students, we have a 60-day challenge and we have a strategy of how they apply to these jobs. And the strategy is every day you are going to apply to at least like 60 jobs, right? And how you do that is we have the one-click applications or the easy apply, and then we have the tailored applications. So at least every day you are going to do at least 10 tailored applications. The tailored applications take work because you have to look at your resume, the job description, and tailor it, put some of the keywords in your resume, change some of the wording to fit the resume, right? And you apply to 10 selected jobs that if I get this job, this will be my dream job. And then as you are doing that to your resume, what you are doing is you are beefing it up, right? So you are tweaking it to different jobs within the same category of role, right? So if you are adding to it, now you have almost everything that they are looking for. You have like 90% of the keywords they are looking for. So then you can be using that one resume to be applying to the quick apply jobs. So you have it uploaded on LinkedIn or on any of these job sites, and you're applying, or just one click applying. Now, for the jobs that you are tailoring your resume to, you don't apply to those jobs on LinkedIn or Indeed. You go directly to the company's website. Right. So mostly what I say is you treat the job application process as your full-time job until somebody starts paying you for your full-time job. Right. So you are working now, but you are working free, doing the applications. So treat it as a full-time job, applying, knowing very well that when you do get a hit and you scale the interview, you are going to pay yourself back for all the free work that you did, right? But if you are treating it as a part-time job that you hate, that you don't want to do, then your response are also going to be a good reflection of how you are treating it, right? So hopefully that helps. Now, what should you do is what I've just told you. When you are not getting any hits, what you should do is to make sure you are revising your resume. You are, going to these job titles, a variety of them that you are looking for, picking the job description and the skills you are looking for, and using that to beef up your resume. And I can assure you, if you do that and you don't get a hit, come to me. We will analyze everything you did. If you did exactly what I told you, I'll give you $100. If come to find out you didn't do all of it, you pay me $500. Fair deal, right? Okay, interviews. Let's jump into interviews. What now? Our resume work. We got a hit and we got an interview. So what next? How do you prepare for an interview? Right now, for most cybersecurity interviews, they are going to go through at least 3 interviews. So first, second, third. If you scale the first one, you are good. Second one, that doesn't mean you scale the third one. So you have to scale all of it, right? Some companies, they will send you like a questionnaire or like some problem for you to solve. For some of our Eretmis students, I think for the internship, we give you some of the ones that some students have had. I think one was risk assessment one. So they had the diagram and they ask you some questions and you have to solve the question based on the diagram, right? For PCI folks, we also have similar ones like that. It was about scoping. So they had a diagram. You have to identify which aspects of the network is in scope and which ones are not in scope. That is also part of some of the technical aspect of the interview. So instead of just having you talk about your experience, they can also give you like an assignment for you to do. And for those assignments, the good part is you cannot find any answer on Google, right? It is based on what you know and how you are able to analyze what they gave you. So they let you take it home, do it and send it to us in email. So for all the candidates that they selected, pre-selected, they will have them do it. Depending on how well you do, they will scale you to the next level of the interview. Sometimes that is what they do for the technical part, but most times they will interview you. So you are going to go through a technical interview, behavioral interview, and mostly a combination of both for your third or your second interview. So it really depends. Most of the times, some companies, I've seen different varieties of it. I've sat on different types. But the 3 is the 3: behavioral, knowledge, technical, and then so behavioral is soft skills, interview. Technical is technical, right? And then sometimes a combination of both behavioral and technical. And mostly for your technical interview is going to be your direct manager or whoever you're going to work for directly, and maybe some people also on your team for the technical aspect. Now, for the behavioral, mostly is more leadership roles that will be interviewing you. So, like your CISO or your CIO or somebody on those lines, right? The higher you go, you are more concerned about organizational culture and leadership and operational aspect of security more so than the technical part, right? So the technical portion, we leave it to the implementers to handle, and the higher ups will focus on the behavioral questions, and then a combination of both will be kind of like your manager, mid-level manager. They will be looking at some of your technical skills and also looking at how well you work in a team and all that. So that will be a combination. So your 3 interviews: technical interview, a mixture of technical and behavioral, and then your last one, behavioral, mostly very heavy on behavioral. Now, from experience in Eretmis Cybersecurity Academy, most of our students who don't scale their first interviews, go through all 3 and pass, what gets them, and this is our own statistics, Where they fail or they fall short mostly is the behavioral, right? And even with that, we still polish them up and they're able to go and scale other interviews. But initially, before we really started paying particular attention to, that aspect, that was what was getting them. So they will go to their technical, they will scale it. Mixture of technical and behavioral, they will scale it. And then the behavioral, pure behavioral, they wouldn't do, I mean, I think probably they will do like 70% to 80%, but somebody else would beat them to it, maybe do a 95 or something, right? But now we really, but that was like way in like early days, but now we have it really balanced. We focus even more on the behavioral, and that shows even in our internship curriculum and how we have built our internship and workshop program. You work in teams, groups, right? So you are building that, soft skills, even if you don't have it. So you learn to tolerate people, you learn to work with people, you learn to work in a team. If somebody's not pulling their weight, how do you deal with it? And then also for our job placement assistant program, there is a full-blown training on the behavioral, how to answer behavioral questions and the rest. Now, with that answering questions, answering interviews, we move into how do you really go about answering technical questions, behavioral questions, and all that. So for us, we encourage you to use the strategy that we call the STAR method in answering interview questions, right? So don't go with interviews with yes or no, maybe yes, no, right? You have to go in there with scenarios because they are also going to ask you for scenarios. So what is your experience in using Splunk? Or what is your experience in using a SIM tool? Don't just say, oh, I've used Splunk in the past and just sit there. What did you use it for? How? Where? Right? So if you are using the STAR method to answer this question, you have to, so the STAR method is S for situation, T for task, A for action, R for results, right? So a situation that you are in, the task you were supposed to do, the action you took, the results of your action, right? So if they ask you, what is your experience using a SIM tool? And the situation you can create as like if you've used Splunk like a SIM tool before, what was the situation that you find yourself that led to you taking or that led to you using this tool, right? So if let's say a client you are working for or your company was working for needed a SIM tool to help them, to have a better view of their security or have a better understanding or a better management of their security posture, right? So your company was instructed to select maybe the best SIM tool for them or help them use the best SIM tool or train them on the best SIM tool that will fit their budget. So that is the situation. What is the tax? A team was put together, you were part of the team or you were a leader in the team, and you were tasked to maybe install, like not install, but you were tasked to use Splunk, a SIM tool, Splunk, to help them assess their organizational security posture or to set it up for them to be able to use that to manage their security posture and see firsthand, at a glance, their security posture, right? So that is the tax. Now, that is the tax you are supposed to take, or like the tax you're supposed to do for that situation. What is the action you took? So your team went to work, you did A, B, C, D, and you were able to work with maybe their networking folks, blah, blah, blah. You set up your forwarders and all that to have all information transferred to Splunk. Everything was set up well. Your deadline was maybe you were given a week or you were given a month. You were able to complete everything within 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And your client really loved it. They've been using it up to now. That is the results, right? So if you answer in this way, all the follow-up questions that were coming, such as how did you use Splunk or how did you use this tool? When did you use it? Where? What was the issue? Now they have to skip all those questions and go to the next one, right? So your goal going into an interview is when they ask you one question, when you answer that one question, that answer should let them skip 3 questions to the fourth or the fifth question. If you are using the STAR method, that is what you are going to achieve all the time, right? To the point where they have 10 questions, but then they just ask you 3 or 4, and they are like, well, I'm out of questions. John, do you have anything for Michael? Right? Because at that point, you are killing it. But if you just go in with no, yes, I use Plank, now you are just opening yourself for more blows, right? And you don't want that. And those questions are also going to bring other things that you are probably not even prepared for. And some of them will catch you off guard if you are not well vested in what you are talking about. Right. So this is a very the best way to go about answering interview questions. And you are getting that all on here. So if you really take this and you run with it, I can promise you within the next month or 2, you are going to come back and say, oh, I took that and I got a job out of that, right? And then also a very important thing about interviews. When we interviewed Naomi last 2 weeks, thereabout, she was talking about how she was keeping track of all the interviews she was doing. Now, not just the interviews, but the interview questions. Because all the interview questions, if you go to 10 interviews, 60% of the questions, if it is on the same similar job roles or job titles, 60% of the questions are going to be the same. Now, the 40% will be based on organizational differences, right? So if you went to an interview, they asked you a question, you were fumbling, you shouldn't be fumbling on the same question in your next interview. So if you come back from the interview, try to write all the questions down before you forget. The ones you didn't do so well on, indicate, make asterisks on it, and go to work, researching on it, talking to people, and finding better ways of answering that. If it is a remote interview and you are able to record it for your own learning purposes. So you can play it back and see how well you did, right? And you have to be honest to yourself. Or if you have a friend, you have like a study group for Eretmis interns. When internship is done, it is not done. You can keep your groups together. If you go to an interview, bring the tape, everybody listen to it, analyze, and that is how you all learn and become better at interviews and all that. So if you keep track of questions and you are going back and revising and doing all that, you are going to be very successful you are going to do better and better and better in your subsequent interviews. And eventually, you are going to run into a company that is madly in love with you. They can't let you go, right? So, and if you are keeping track of this and doing this as we are talking about tonight, that is not going to be in the very distant future. It's very close, right? So, preparing for interview, how do you come up with some of the possible interview questions? How to answer some of the questions? We've discussed that already. What questions to ask during the interview? So at the end of the interview, they'll ask you if you have any questions for them. What questions are you really going to ask, right? And then also before then, let's go back one. So as part of your preparation for the interview, one thing that I probably skipped was researching the company. I always tell everybody, if you are going to an interview, you have to make sure you know more about the company than the person from the company who is going to interview you. I'm going to repeat that. If you are going to an interview, you have to make sure you know more about the company than the person who is going to interview you, who works at the company. So how do you do that? But I don't work at the company. How do I get to know more about the company? Well, the company has a lot of information on their website that people who work there don't even take the time and energy to go through to read and know more about their company. So if you want to go work for this company and at the interview, they ask you, hey, so what do you know about that company? And you are fumbling, you don't deserve to work in that company. It's simple and like simple and straightforward, right? So you are just in for the money. You are just coming there. You don't really, it's like if you are finding a significant other and you are interviewing a bunch of guys or a bunch of ladies. if you're a guy, you're interviewing a bunch of girls, like the shows that they do on TV, and maybe one, lady comes up and you ask her, so why do you want to marry me? And they're like, well, I mean, or you ask them, what do you know about me? Well, not much. So you don't know anything about me, but you want to marry me? Really? Maybe probably she's heard you are a billionaire, so she's just after the money, like he can take care of her. Or he knows you're a billionaire, so he's, but somebody who genuinely wants to be with you will take time to learn about you and know what you want, what you don't want. Same thing with the companies, right? It's a relationship. So you are there to help each other. They are going to pay you, but then you're also going to work for that amount of money they are paying you. But they would like to know if you really have any interest in working at the company or you just want a job. But if you've done your research and you know about the company's mission, their vision, when it was formed, what they do and why they do it and what they've been in, what happened in the past, then they'll know, okay, this guy is really about business. He took time to learn about us. He deserves to work here, right? So if you don't take time to research about the company, you are shooting yourself in the foot. And another way that is going to show is if they ask you, why do you want to work for us? Or what are you bringing to the table? How can you help us? You cannot help them if you don't know their vision. You cannot help them if you don't know their mission. You cannot help them if you don't know what they do, right? How can you help somebody if you don't know where they are going, right? I'm going to give you a ride to where? I don't know, anywhere you want to go. And then I'm not going to go with your ride. I want somebody who looked into what I'm doing and where I'm going and can speak to, okay, I know you are going to Virginia, so I'll give you a ride. When we get to this point, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do to help your journey. At that point, then, okay, this person is going to help me out, but not somebody who just want to be there because they just want to find a job and get paid. So even if your goal is just to find a job and get paid, don't let it look like that. That is what I'm going to tell you, right? Because for the people who are going to pay you, they are not stupid. They want somebody who at least is showing concern that they truly, believe in what the company is doing and they want to help. So if you are not portraying that, then they are not going to pick you. Right. So that is about that. Let's move forward to how do you come up with possible questions. So the questions for the interview, right? For soft skills and technical skills, there are easy ways to go about it to come up with possible questions, right? For technicals, mostly for all your questions for the interview, you should study the job description. The last thing you want to do is to be learning some questions from online and Google that is really not relevant to the job description that you are going to interview for, right? They've literally given you the questions and the answers in the job description. So if in the job description for the technical side, it says we want somebody with a working knowledge of HIPAA, PCI, whatever, and you go to the interview and they ask you, so what do you know about PCI and HIPAA? And you're like, well, I don't really know anything about them. Then I don't know like what else to tell you because they just gave you a freebie and you blown it away. Because everything on the job description that is on there, you should research into. You are not going to be 100% on everything. There is no way you are going to know everything on the job description. And two, you are not going to do everything on the job description on the job. So don't be scared and say, but I don't know all this. Yes, if you know some of it, the rest you can speak intelligently about. The people who are interviewing you, they know you don't know anything. So don't think they assume you know everything on the job. They know you don't know anything, but they are looking for somebody who is coming with some knowledge and skill, who is trainable, who is a workable person that they can, work with and who will fit the organizational culture. So they are looking for a whole package, not just some technical person who nobody can talk to, or like who really hates everybody, right? So you have to make sure you are going line by line the job description. Ask yourself, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? And you answer it, right? You can use some AI tools like ChatGPT and the rest to help you. But like I'm saying, that shouldn't be your end all be all. So that should be your starting point. It should give you, some fraction, some, like something to work with or something to go off on. But don't just, hey, AI or ChatGPT, give me questions for this job description, and then just, that should be like the holy scriptures for your interview. No, you have to ask yourself, how am I going to? They maybe in the job description it says they want somebody to develop and implement security policies. Ask yourself, how do you develop security policies? Two, how do I implement security policies? What are some of the use cases or scenarios that this can happen, or that I will have to do this? If you've not done it in real life, for like folks in the internship, this is easy peasy. You've been there, you've done that, so you can come up with different scenarios. If you've not done it, research into it. How are policies developed? What policies do we even need for our company? What security policies do we need? What are some of the what are some of the titles for these policies? And why do we need them? Right? Questions like that, ChatGPT cannot give you all these questions that I'm giving you. It can give you something and give you some possible answers. But overall, you have to, make sure you are doing that legwork. All right. So, and also for how interview questions to come up with them, we've also had a session on it on Cyber Chat. So it is also on our YouTube channel as well. So now eventually you're able to scale all 3 interviews. You got a job offer. What are you supposed to do? Right. So negotiating your job offer. Once you've been offered, once you've been given an offer, don't be afraid to negotiate. Right. Don't think, I worked so hard to get on here, so I don't want to blow it. So if whatever they said they were going to give me, I'm just going to take it. Right. Now, most companies, they are gracious enough. Sometimes they will even say they are going to start you off with 100, and the job offer will come and it's 115 or something on those lines. Right. But if it is 100 and they still came with 100, at least you can push a little bit. Hey, I think I would rather take maybe 120 or 100, and so we have to be reasonable also as well. If you ask and they still insist that is all they can offer, that's fine, right? But at least you asked, so don't be afraid to ask or push the limit, right? And then also you have to make sure the job, like whatever they are offering in terms of compensating, it is based on fair market value in terms of your location also as well, and general cybersecurity fair market value as well. And then there are other compensations such as insurance and other things that might not be given directly to you, but they all add up to your overall compensation, right? So you have to take all that into consideration. Now, additional tips. The most important thing I want to say here is don't get frustrated. You have to, the only way you're going to win is to persist and continue and continuous learning. So if you persist and you keep pushing, there are going to be a lot of no's, but one yes, you just hit the lottery, right? So just going through the no's to get one yes. I mean, any day, if it takes you 4 or 5 months, if you don't keep pushing, the 5 months is going to come anyways. You're still going to be doing, or you wouldn't, what you're looking for, the switch or the job you're looking for, you wouldn't have had it. So keep pushing. Don't get discouraged. Cybersecurity jobs are there. It takes longer to fill because cybersecurity role is a special role. It's not just any IT role, right? You are going to help the organization to stay on the right side of security. So if you keep pushing and you are doing everything that we talked about, you are taking time and paying attention to detail, it is not going to take you as long, right? And you are going to get enough results in terms of interviews and getting better. And so you are not going to be, overly frustrated to the point where you're going to quit, right? Some people quit at this point, but at this point, if you pay attention a little bit and you just put in more work, you will be able to scale it and get to the other side, right? There are folks who have gotten jobs, who are looking for, second gigs, and they are hitting roadblocks because they are being complacent. They are not taking time to go through and do all the fine things that they were doing when they were looking for their first job, right? So all that I would say is continuous learning. Keep learning. Be a student of the industry. Be a student of the industry whilst you're waiting for your opportunity to, get into the role that you are looking for. Don't stop learning. If you stop learning, you are going to get rusty. This is a language. Cybersecurity is a language. If you stop speaking that language, you stop staying in environments where that language is spoken, you are going to get rusty, right? So keep, staying in environments like this. That is really going to be always engaging, continuously pushing yourself. And mentorship, find mentors, guidance, and, guide. It can be your peers, right? It can be a study group, right? Or somebody already in the industry who is doing, and in Eretmis family, you have a lot of mentors. Almost everybody who came through for interviews, who've been through where you are, if you are now looking for a job, the security space, they are all, and there are a lot of them on here today too, right? Sometimes they put their LinkedIn profiles on there. You can reach out to them. They will help you. So Michael, there are a lot of Michaels, Michael Knox, Michael Mills, Michael Yeboah, Sheila, Kwame. There is a whole list of them, right? They can help you if you need advice, encouragement, because they've been there, they've done that. We have a whole list of cybersecurity professionals who started from zero. They are now working, somebody working for 3 years plus, and others. What they did was they didn't quit, and they are continuously learning. They are on here, right? There are others who got jobs and who went to sleep. For those ones, when they get out of those jobs, they will be struggling to get into another one because now they will become very rusty. It doesn't matter. You can be working in security for 5 years and still be rusty because wherever you find yourself, if you're just doing one thing over and over and over again, and you're not polishing up yourself, you're not continuously learning, you get rusty. Right? So with that, we are just the cybersecurity WhatsApp group that we have. We are going to post it in the chat, and then also the YouTube channel. Please subscribe. We are almost about to hit 10K, so 10,000 subscribers. Amazing. We didn't expect or even was not actively like pushing for that, but we are growing because of the good content that we put out. And so please do, share it, subscribe, and help the channel grow so more people will also get to have their hands on this good information. And for anybody looking to get into cybersecurity, our cybersecurity entry-level course is the right path for you. It comes with the training itself, internship, hands-on training where you get to work with the tools and build a cybersecurity lab, and the internship where you get to work on real cybersecurity projects for 2 months, at least do 10 projects. And that is going to help you on the job and then also during interview processes as well, and job placement assistance. So we are doing this for free. For our students, we do one-on-one sessions also as well. We go through your resume with you and all that. So if you're getting this for free, then for students in the entry-level course, they are going to get more, obviously. For our PCI cohort, our next cohort is starting. The dates, I think, is on the 27th. I think it was tentatively 20th, but now it's set in stone, is 27th. Our new PCI cohort. So if you're also looking already in IT or looking to specialize in the cybersecurity space, PCI spaces is one of the lucrative niches within the cybersecurity space. And for our cybersecurity internship, we have a graduation tomorrow. So the link will also be going to be posted. Please come support. And for our new internship cohort, we'll also be starting on the 2nd March 2024. All right. So for our contacts and all the information, we are also going to post it. Now we are going to leave the floor for some questions and comments, and we will wrap it up for tonight. I appreciate everybody's time. We are open for comments and questions. So please raise your virtual hand and we will address your comments and questions here shortly. And I promise we're going to do a quick demonstration. We will do that also as well. So as we prep for that, you can ask your questions. So Hans, you can raise your virtual hand and then ask your questions. I think Sydney, go ahead. Yeah, please unmute yourself and.
Oh, I'm sorry. Good evening, Doctor.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, I have something to share. I called sometime last year to express my frustration and everything. I'm not calling like I've gotten a job, but following what you've said so far, you said something about knowing the company. Recently, I have had to review my resume and try to find out what really happened, because I realized I had a couple of resumes, but some of the employers will be like, going through your resume, and I'm like in my head, oh, which of the resumes are they talking about? I get confused. So what I had to do was to consolidate my resume, and I tried to keep one so that whatever resume they're looking at, I know that's the one that I have. And so far, it's been coming out very positively. Like between from the beginning of January, I've had to interview with about 4 companies. And I received a call from one, I think that was on Wednesday. I didn't go through with that. It was remaining to meet with the CEO. So the remaining 3, I'm still waiting to hear from them, but I've gone through the 4 stages of those interviews. And I was like, following this chat has helped me a lot, and even if I get a no, but in a long while, I have not had this stream of busy moments preparing for interview back to back. They were sending, communicating with them. And even when that call came, they didn't just send me an email, they called that I know this is not the call you were expecting, but we had another person that was with you. It was a very competitive. We talked, they gave me a very positive feedback, not just like, okay, we are moving on. Right. So I'm just calling in to like encourage all of us. To like keep pushing. Seriously, I just breved up and said, let me find out and know what is wrong with my resume and all that. Surprisingly, it's been working, and I've been very busy. Like, I don't care about the no. I know someday it will come up positive. But the fact that I'm able to go through these stages of interview, from technical and then with the soft skills, met with the teams, and then they were all impressed and all that. So I just like, let me get back to you guys, and like, we can really do this. Seriously, at some point I was very discouraged. I was, but with this that I'm getting, I'm just trying to like move and keep learning. Like Doctor said, is the language we have to speak. And I noticed at some point I was losing out on some terms. But every time we keep hearing ourselves talking about different terms, sometimes we don't get to know it. I get back to Google, what is that? So that makes sense to me, like just being able to flow. So that's what I wanted to like key in, that everything that I do is saying, the processes and all that, they're all good. And just pay attention. Seriously, it helped me. It helped me. I've been trying to help myself, and I'm like, let me come back in and let you guys know that, hey, something is positively waiting for us.
All right, Sydney.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, Doctor. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Nabichi, did I get it right?
Yeah.
Yes, please go ahead.
Thanks, Doc. I just wanted to say thank you. This was very elaborate. And also, are you going to make this available, this video available? Because I
Yes,
need
so
to
it
use
is.
that to
We are
experience.
yes, we are streaming it on YouTube now. So the stream version will be on there. The recorded version, this one will also be posted later in the evening.
Okay, and I hope this is an ongoing conversation as well, just so that people can bring back feedback, from their various experiences.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, that's all.
Brian,
Thank you.
Please go ahead. Yes, thank you.
Hey, Doc. Yeah, I appreciate this message as well. I was on YouTube listening. I had to come in the Zoom to say this. I had got my first interview, and I think I was overly excited or whatever, but then anxious at the same time. So everything you said, I forgot it all. It all went out the window. And so, like one of the things the guy asked, so the company was Dyson. And so when you say study the company, right? So if everybody here, you know the company, you've heard of the company Dyson, right? And so they're known for what the vacuum, you know? So, but Dyson also makes like the hand dryers when you go into the Starbucks, into the bathroom, those little air things that blow. They also do cosmetics. They got a part of the company corporation in Europe. They sell what do you call it? Strawberries, right? I didn't know any of that. So,
Okay.
yeah. And so, just some of the, keep it in mind when they're talking to you and they ask you to tell you about yourself. You're right. It's not about, well, I like to go play basketball and this and that, right? They really want to know what, you know, what you can offer the company. I think the guy kind of got me because he started talking about himself and, giving descriptions about what he liked to do or whatever. So it was a pleasant conversation. But one thing he also said, he was like, "Oh yeah, we give 3 weeks vacation." I don't know, maybe I had a look on my face. I was like, "That's it, right?" But so that's what I said. I screwed it all up, man. But this is right on point, right? Like you are giving us the real deal information. I just wanted to come say that. Thanks a lot, Doc.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Brian. Teresa, please go ahead.
I wasn't going to speak until I heard Brian speak. So just wanted to add on to what you said earlier. For my interview, right? Even when I started, the HR told me that they've selected people already, and I don't know if they will let you in. She just let me in, and I just joined very late in the interview process. I got to the last person who is like the senior man, and I didn't even do anything better over there. But when I met the hiring manager, he was more focused on the behavior, like how you relate to others. And so these people, after the interview, told me that, oh, we've given the position to someone else. But the hiring manager called me back and said, Teresa, because of how you answered your relationship with people, just give us some time. We will call you back. So really knowing just the technical will get you there to a point, but how you relate to people, how you interact with people will also lead you all the way to get the job. So in as much as we know the technical, just like Dr. Edu said, pay attention to the behavioral, how you connect to people, how you relate to people. That will also get you the job that we are all looking for.
Yes, thank you, Teresa. And Teresa eventually got the job, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So
I got a job even when they told me others have taken the lead and I was really behind. And even when I got to the last interview with the senior manager, true to myself, I didn't do well because I'm like, everything is done. What at all is he going to ask me? But I knew I didn't really perform much. But how on the behavioral level, the relationship questions, how I spoke to the hiring manager, he one day told me when I joined the company, like, you know why I brought you here? How you talked about you were going to relate to people and work with them. That's what got you into this job. So really, that means that those who came ahead of me on the technical front were really good, right? But what set me apart was my relationship skills and how I was going to work with the team on the whole, because that was their challenge. They have knowledgeable people, but they don't know how to get others to work together like teams to resolve their issues that they are facing. So it's really important that we pay attention to that part of how we will do others.
Oh, thank you very much. Teresa. And Teresa is graduating tomorrow. She's also going to be a guest speaker in her group. So please come support us. I think we have to post the link also for tomorrow's internship graduation as well. Right. All right. So Eliku, please go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna ask Teresa, could she give an example of maybe some of the questions that were asked and how she responded, just to give us some context?
Okay.
One thing that really stood out for me was how you were going to work with like a team that comes on a meeting and everything you ask them is like nobody knows what to do. How are you going to deal with such people, right? And my background is in project management. So really, I've encountered that before. So what I told them was that if people come on meetings and they are not giving me responses to like the questions or issues that we are dealing with on the ground, how about you reach out to them before the meeting? Talk to them. Or if somebody gives you a response you didn't like after the meeting, reach out to them before the meeting. Can you connect with them to align with the people before? So really, it was kind of conversational, right? And as they asked many questions over and over and over, and it's like everything they said, I was able to kind of, and I mean, just like what Dr. Edu said about the teams that we worked with, right? It was very tough. You know, we all came from different backgrounds, and I learned a lot about how to relate with people to get job done. So really, I'm a person that I don't really remember much of the questions, but I also remember they asked me, what is my greatest weakness? And that one is a question that I prepared for. I don't even remember the answer I gave. So these are questions that will pop up. And the scenario questions that using the STAR method that Dr. Edu talked about. You know, when I met with Dr. Edu, he told me that you need to know the STAR method. And I'm like, it was like, I don't even know what vulnerability manager does. How much do I even come up with the STAR method questions or scenarios? So I used ChatGTP. It gave me some scenarios and I researched to understand the scenarios they gave me. And so when they really asked me about working as a team, what vulnerability management project did you do? And I just narrated everything that I researched on. And I just told them, I really can't remember specific questions, but I remember the STAR technique questions and the behavior questions that they asked me. Yeah.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you, Teresa. Very insightful. Well, we are, I think, 6 minutes past the hour 9, so we'll be wrapping up. I appreciate everybody's time. Have a great weekend. We've posted the link to our graduation tomorrow for our internship for our interns. So our cybersecurity internship graduation for every cohort. Once we're done, we'll do a graduation ceremony to celebrate the hard work and to congratulate our interns for the hard work that they put in during their internship. So we encourage you to join us tomorrow morning. The link will be also emailed out. And please go ahead and for our WhatsApp group, you can join us also on there and then subscribe to our YouTube channel. We will probably hit 10K, which is a big milestone for us tonight. So we appreciate everybody's time. Have a great weekend. We will meet next week, same time for Cyber Chats. And if you have any questions, our links and link for appointments are all in the chat, so you can make an appointment and speak to us. Have a great weekend, everyone. Stay
Thank
blessed.
you. Good night.
Doc,
Go ahead,
Thank
Joe.
you.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
one.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
which cohort is graduating tomorrow?
So it's June and August.
Oh, June, August. What about ours? Ours was in what, April?
No, so like then your graduation has been. It's not the intern. It's not the PCI. It's the cybersecurity internship.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right, got you, though.
Hey,
Thank you.
sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
Go ahead, Shake.
Yeah, Dr. Ado, I know it's been some time now. I was going to try to ask the same question, but he just asked it.
Yeah. So for
I was
you,
trying to say.
you are not going to graduate until we've gone through version 4, which is sometime this month. We are all going to go through version 4, and then everybody who's completed their PCI internship, there's going to be a big graduation.
Oh yeah, but the what happened was I did the internship with the February cohort, even though I was
Okay.
April.
Oh, okay.
I did that internship here with the February cohort, and we finished together.
Okay, great. So I mean, like once you've completed it, you've completed it. So you should be good to go.
Okay.
Thanks,
All
Doc.
right, thank you so much. Yeah.
All right, everyone. I appreciate everybody's
One
time.
more question for you, Dr.
Okay, go ahead,
Edu.
Eliku. Yes,
So
go ahead.
you said version 4, is everybody who did PCI last year gonna be part of
Yes,
that?
everybody. Yeah, the link will be sent out. So everybody, we are going to do a follow-up on version 4, and everybody should be up to speed on version 4. So everybody who went through last year, there's going to be a makeup class for PCI version 4.
Do you have an idea of the timings?
No,
Or?
it's going to be in February. So we will let you know the dates, the days that we are going to meet.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
All right,
Thanks,
everyone.
Doc.
I appreciate it.